Tau X, period of becoming one. Tau X, period of becoming one. Nuha already on deck. Tau X. Listen, this is just going to be a video clip that I want to show you. It's a reference to end times. We're living in the end times. And we're closer than you think. I'm not setting dates. I'm just saying from the disasters and things going on, this is what I see. This is what you'll see when this financial analyst speaks about it. Remember that saying that you've heard before many times, probably follow the money. A lot of you people don't. You think things are just regular and things are directed, turned left, right, up, and down through the finances. They rule. It rules everything. You know, the richest families, they rule because they're following the money. They have the money. They have the resources. So this financial guru guy, Asian guy, and see, I don't care. You know, the truth comes out of anybody, a heathen's mouth, a Torah Israelite mouth. The truth is the truth. This is what is currently going on. Uh, and of course, you know, the devil's in the details. They're gonna, you know, that cavemen are, you know, got their demonic hands doing tricks and wizardry. But this video is gonna have you see through it. And this guy's gonna give you a timeline of, yo, they're gonna do a whole bunch of tricks this week and next couple of weeks, but it's already been set in like stone almost. And he said they don't got that much time. So that's what I want to share with you. I'm not predicting any time. I'm not saying anything. I'm just want to give you an update. This is an FYI for your information. So when I look at things, I look at it from a spiritual point of view. I don't just look at it, oh, this is some financial information. I look at it from a Torah point of view. And in Nuha, you got the information. But we're going to give 7.5 minutes. See if anybody comes on. I'm not going to restart the video. I'm not going to give any scripture. Well, I'm going to be calling scripture from my head at the end, you know, like real quick. Because what I want you to see is the big picture. I want you to see the big end time picture. You know, to me, when I saw this video, I was like, wow, the end could be coming. We know the end is coming, but you know, we usually look at it as a dream or so far away, and it may not be so far away. That's not setting a date. I'm just going by the circumstances that are going on in the world, the disasters, the chaos. And I know there's been disasters and chaos, but not like this. So we should just be happy. It made me happy to hear. Still, I don't know uh, what's going on, but you know, my sight is on the great and terrible, awesome day of the Most High. Joel, the book of Joel. I'm getting so excited. You know when you swallow spit. So I want to share it with you. So we're at 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Avia in the house, Tavex, period, becoming one. And I just want to share it with you guys. You know, you know, we'll enjoy it. Well, I already watched it, but I'm going to watch it again. And we'll see. And hopefully it'll be edifying. Hopefully it'll open your eyes to the scripture even more. And you go, hey, it's getting ready to go at it, like for real, financially. And then, you know, financially leads to everything else. You know, like takeovers in Venezuela wasn't just because Maduro's a bad guy, and Trump loves the people of Venezuela. No, it's about money and resources, and they're gonna, so that could be WWW3. And when you follow the money, which I do, uh, not that I have the money, I follow economic trends and stuff like that because I'm a Kohelet. I need to know a little bit about things in the world because it pertains to the scripture, it pertains to end time prophecies, and this one definitely to me is when you hear it, you're going to see. And then when this financial, when this financial prognosticator starts talking, and he says they don't got that much time. They could play Monopoly games, but for so long. Then the game board got to be cleared. It's over. He said they got like a year. They got this year, maybe some of next year, maybe. That's what he said. I didn't say that. He said it. With the finances, follow the money. Things are done not because of humanitarian reasons. Some of you people are doing stuff, saving people and taking out leaders. It ain't about Venezuela. It's about something bigger than that. It's not even talking about Venezuela. It's talking about, you're going to see in this video clip. I ain't going to do any. We're at 6 minutes, 58 seconds. I'm going to start at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. We got a couple priest, warrior, Torah Tanakh only on deck. We got princesses, Torah Tanakh, Hebrew Israelite, Hebrewites on deck, Tav X. Uh, you're gonna watch it, and then you'll see for yourself. You go like, oh, Joel 3 may be knocking Joel chapter 1, 2, 3, and it depends on what he read in the Tanakh of the KJV, 1, 2, or 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapter 4 is knocking at the door. Closer than you think. And of course, you think they're going to tell you that? But here at Hebron Island 2, I'm going to tell you that. No dates. I'm just happy that, hey, we're one step closer to the great and terrible, one step disaster closer to the great and terrible, awesome day of the Most High. Because, these cavemen are going to start fighting it out. There's no honor between thieves. And they're the thieves of the world. All of the heathens, they just thieves it. And there ain't no honor between them. And when there ain't no honor, the gloves coming off, the AKs are coming out, the F-35 Phantom jets is coming out with the missiles and the drones, and because there's no honor between thieves. The Most High made them think like that. So let's get it started. We already got a couple people in the house. JD Israel's in the house. Tavex, the Mon for Yah, always on deck. Tavex, Nuha, and Avia, and it could be several other people watching. Excuse me. I'm gonna get right to the video clip so you can just watch it. And I don't know how many minutes it is. It's like maybe 20 minutes, but it's going to be a worthwhile 20 minutes. And when he gets to that part where they ain't got that much time left, young people, they won't want to hear that. They'll say, well, I didn't live a long, long time with my kids. I want to get out of here. I'm not saying that it's when he says, no, because he's talking about finances. Remember, follow the money. But these are precursors to further severe disasters that can bring on Joel chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and depending on what book you're reading, it has a chapter 4. It's bringing that on equals the great and terrible awesome day of the Most High. When you see the sun turned dark, the moon turned to blood, and the pillar of smoke. So, when I saw that, that's what came in my mind. I'm like, yo, we could be closer. No dates. I keep mentioning that because I don't want nobody to text. They said that I ain't said you didn't hear me set one date. And if somebody texts me that, that means you don't want you listen to the video. You just want to listen to what you want to listen to. No dates. This just brings us steps, leaps and bounds closer to the book of Joel. Joel chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and depending on what book you read, chapter 4, which will bring us to the moon turning to blood, the sun turning dark, and the pillar of smoke. The book of Joel equals the great and terrible awesome day of the Most High. I applaud it. So when I heard that financial, because I follow financial things. Not that I have finances to thing, but I'm interested in it. Dip a little and dabbling, poor man style. Okay, so check it out. Somebody put it in fair use, fair use. Type in fair use, fair use. Let me put it up to. And then you can leave your comment and tell me, hey, is this serious? Fair use, fair use, fair use. 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Okay, let's get it popping, Israelites. Okay, here we go.
The war started on Thursday. Not with missiles, not with troops, with gold bars.
Hold it, wait.
January 15th, 2026, 9:37 a.m. Beijing time,
Hold
the
it.
People's Bank of China.
And listen, don't be bored from the beginning stuff he's talking about. This is a financial channel. This guy is a silver heavy metal analyst. He's an Asian guy. Don't get lost in the sauce. Oh, he's talking about this and derivatives of that. No, just keep listening. Stay focused, Israel. He's gonna lay it all out clear so you can hear it. There ain't no slip ups and stuff. So CNBC and this one hiding it or lying or whatever, just hiding this stuff. This is what's going on. Starting tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next day. So check it out. And hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it be edifying to you. Hold on. I had to get me a new phone. Well, not a new phone, a new used replacement phone. And the setup has been crazy. It's been, I don't know why it's gave me so kind of trouble. All right, check it out. Remember, don't be lost by the thing. Let me turn the fan on. Oh, this is crazy. Here we go.
The war started on Thursday. Not with missiles, not with troops, with gold bars. January 15th, 2026, 9:37 a.m. Beijing time, the People's Bank of China held a press conference that lasted exactly 11 minutes. The room was filled with domestic financial journalists, a handful of international correspondents, and 3 cameras streaming live to state media. The deputy governor stepped to the podium, adjusted his glasses, and read from a prepared statement. The English translation, which was released simultaneously, contained 183 words. And buried in paragraph 3, between routine updates about foreign exchange reserves and monetary policy adjustments, was a single sentence that detonated the global financial system. Quote, effective February 1st, 2026, the People's Bank of China will offer foreign central banks and sovereign wealth funds the option to store gold reserves in Shanghai-based vaults with settlement in renminbi, providing full insurance, auditing, and repatriation guarantees equivalent to London Bullion Market Association standards. End quote. One sentence, 47 words. And in those 47 words, China just declared war on the United States dollar. Not a trade war, not a currency war, a reserve currency war, World War III of finance. And it started not with a bang, but with an invitation. An invitation for every central bank on earth to move their gold from New York and London to Shanghai, to move their reserves from dollar-denominated accounts to renminbi-denominated accounts, to exit the Western financial system and enter the Chinese financial system, and to do it with full legal protection, full insurance, and full access to their metal. This is not posturing. This is not rhetoric. This is operational capability deployed. And today, Saturday, January 17th, 2026, 48 hours after the announcement, 3 central banks have already responded: Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia. All 3 have initiated preliminary discussions with the People's Bank of China about transferring portions of their gold reserves to Shanghai. The total gold involved in those 3 preliminary discussions is approximately 840 million ounces. 840 million ounces of gold, currently stored in vaults in London and New York, is about to move to Shanghai. And when it moves, when those transfers are finalized, the United States dollar will lose its primary advantage, that is sustained dollar hegemony for 8 years. The currency with sufficient liquidity, sufficient trust, sufficient infrastructure to serve as the
What
global
the hell is going on?
advantage is over. China just built a competing infrastructure. And they did not just build it, they weaponized it. Let me show you exactly what China has constructed. Let me prove why this is not a symbolic gesture.
Hold on, this is
to
mess.
the Western financial system. Let me calculate the exact timeline, month by month, for when the dollar loses reserve currency status, and what that means for every asset you own, every debt you hold, and every financial decision you will make for the rest of your life. The Shanghai Gold Vault system that China announced on January 15th has been under construction for 3 years. The facility, located in the Pudong district of Shanghai, consists of
Excuse me. Sorry, this is going crazy. Stop it already. Excuse me for cursing. I curse so what? Gotta get off all this. Gotta get off this thing. They don't want you to hear it. Ah, nigga. Shit. Man. Sorry. And remember, listen, don't be, don't get crazy because you're hearing some financial stuff and maybe like, oh, that's boring. He's gonna get it's gonna tell you about world things that are gonna happen because of that. Let's start it again. This video is 24 minutes, but it's worth it. You gotta just listen. You know, we had this stupid interruption. Sorry that I cursed, but anybody don't like it, get off the channel. We don't care about subscribers. Torah Tanakh is small remnant. Okay, hold on. Let's get it right. Come on.
Responded: Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia. All 3 have initiated preliminary discussions with the People's Bank of China about transferring portions of their gold reserves to Shanghai. The total gold involved in those 3 preliminary discussions is approximately 840 million ounces. 840 million ounces of gold, currently stored in vaults in London and New York, is about to move to Shanghai. And when it moves, when those transfers are finalized, the United States dollar will lose its primary advantage. The advantage that has sustained dollar hegemony for 80 years. The advantage of being the only currency with sufficient liquidity, sufficient trust, and sufficient infrastructure to serve as the global reserve. That advantage is over. China just built a competing infrastructure. And they did not just build it, they weaponized it. Let me show you exactly what China has constructed. Let me prove why this is not a symbolic gesture, but a fully operational alternative to the Western financial system. And let me calculate the exact timeline, month by month, for when the dollar loses reserve currency status and what that means for every asset you own, every debt you hold, and every financial decision you will make for the rest of your life. The Shanghai Gold Vault system that China announced on January 15th has been under construction for 3 years. The facility, located in the Pudong district of Shanghai, consists of 6 underground vaults, each with capacity to store approximately 500 million ounces of gold. Total capacity, 3 billion ounces. For context, the total gold held in London Bullion Market Association vaults globally is approximately 900 million ounces. The total gold held in Federal Reserve vaults in New York is approximately 650 million ounces. China built a storage system that can hold double the combined capacity of London and New York. And they built it not for domestic use, they built it for foreign central banks. The facility operates under a legal structure modeled on Swiss vault regulations. Each central bank that stores gold in Shanghai has segregated allocated storage, meaning the gold bars are individually identified with serial numbers, physically separated from other depositors' gold, and legally owned exclusively by the depositor. The gold cannot be lent, leased, or hypothecated without explicit written consent from the owner. This eliminates the fractional reserve risk that exists in London, where unallocated gold accounts operate on a pooled basis with unclear ownership. China is offering a feature that London cannot match: guaranteed allocated storage with no rehypothecation. The facility provides full insurance through a consortium of Chinese and international insurers, totaling $50 billion in coverage per depositor. The insurance covers theft, loss, damage, and sovereign seizure. That last one, sovereign seizure, is the critical feature, because in 2022, when the United States and European Union froze $300 billion in Russian foreign exchange reserves, central banks around the world realized that holding reserves in Western jurisdictions means those reserves can be confiscated if you fall out of political favor. China's insurance explicitly covers sovereign seizure, meaning if China ever tries to confiscate a depositor's gold, the insurance pays out the full value. And the insurance is backed not just by Chinese entities, but by reinsurers in Switzerland, Singapore, and Dubai, providing international legal recourse. China has built a system that offers better legal protection than London or New York. The facility includes full auditing capability. Any depositor can request an independent third-party audit of their holdings at any time. The audit includes physical bar counts, weight verification, and purity testing. China has hired SGS, Bureau Veritas, and 3 other international auditing firms to provide these services, ensuring that depositors are not relying solely on Chinese assurances. And finally, the facility guarantees full repatriation rights. Any depositor can request physical delivery of their gold to any location in the world with 90 days' notice. China will transport the gold via armored carrier, insured, to the destination of the depositor's choice. No restrictions, no conditions. Compare that to the Federal Reserve. When Germany requested repatriation of its gold from New York in 2013, the Fed told them it would take 7 years to deliver. Germany eventually got their gold, but the delays raised questions about whether the gold was actually there or whether it had been lent out and needed to be reacquired. China is guaranteeing 90-day delivery. That is a competitive advantage. So when you add up allocated storage, $50 billion in insurance, independent audits, and guaranteed repatriation, China has built a vault system that is technically superior to the Western system. But the technical features are not the weapon. The weapon is the settlement currency, because China is not asking central banks to pay vault fees in dollars. They're asking for payment in renminbi. And they are offering renminbi-denominated gold contracts, renminbi gold swaps, and renminbi lines of credit backed by gold collateral. This creates a parallel financial system where central banks can hold reserves, conduct transactions, and settle trades entirely in renminbi without ever touching dollars. And once that system reaches critical mass, once enough central banks have moved enough gold to Shanghai and are conducting enough transactions in renminbi, the dollar loses its network effect. The network effect is the phenomenon where a currency becomes more useful the more people use it. The dollar is the global reserve currency, not because it is backed by gold or because the US economy is the largest, but because everyone else uses dollars, so you have to use dollars to trade with them. But if China creates a parallel network where you can trade in renminbi, settle in gold, and avoid dollars entirely, the network effect shifts. And once it shifts, it does not shift back. Now let me show you the numbers, because China has been preparing for this moment for over a decade. And the preparation shows in their gold accumulation strategy. As of December 31st, 2025, China's official gold reserves stood at 74.15 million ounces, or 2,300 3.5 tons. That is up from 62.64 million ounces, or 1,948 tons, at the end of 2024, an increase of 11.51 million ounces in 1 year. But those are the official reserves, the reserves that the People's Bank of China reports publicly. Industry analysts estimate that China's actual gold holdings, including gold held by state-owned enterprises, sovereign wealth funds, and undisclosed central bank purchases, total between 180 million and 220 million ounces. Why the discrepancy? because China has a long history of underreporting gold reserves and then revealing the true number years later. In 2009, China announced that its gold reserves were 33.89 million ounces, double the previously reported figure. The revelation shocked markets because China had been accumulating for 6 years without disclosure. The same pattern is likely occurring now. China reports 74 million ounces. The real number is probably 180 to 220 million. And even that does not include the gold held by Chinese citizens and private entities. According to the World Gold Council, Chinese consumers purchased 510 tons of gold jewelry in 2024 and an estimated 240 tons of gold bars and coins. That is 750 tons, or 24 million ounces, of private gold demand in 1 year. Over a decade, private Chinese gold holdings easily exceed 300 million ounces. When you add official reserves, undisclosed state holdings, and private holdings, China controls approximately 500 million to 600 million ounces of gold. That is more than the United States official gold reserve of 261.5 million ounces. China has more gold than America, and they accumulated it quietly, methodically, without triggering a price spike that would have made accumulation expensive. That is strategic planning. But the gold is not just a store of value, it is a weapon, because China is using gold to back renminbi internationalization. The renminbi, also called the yuan, currently represents approximately 5% of global payment transactions, according to SWIFT data. That is up from 3% in 2024. 5% does not sound like much until you realize the dollar represents 56% and the euro represents 20%. 5% makes the renminbi the fifth most used currency globally, ahead of the Japanese yen and the British pound. But 5% is not enough to challenge dollar dominance. China needs the renminbi to reach 15 to 20% to create a viable alternative. And the way to do that is to back the renminbi with gold. Not a formal gold standard. China is not going to make the renminbi convertible to gold at a fixed rate. That would constrain monetary policy. Instead, China is creating an implicit gold backing. They are saying to central banks, if you hold renminbi, you can convert those renminbi to gold through our Shanghai vault system at market prices. You do not have a legal guarantee of conversion, but you have operational capability. That makes the renminbi a quasi-gold-backed currency. And when central banks compare holding dollars, which are backed by the full faith and credit of a $36 trillion indebted government, versus holding renminbi, which can be converted to physical gold stored in Shanghai vaults, the calculus changes. Gold-backed renminbi becomes attractive. And once central banks start diversifying reserves into renminbi, once they start using renminbi for trade settlement, once they start holding renminbi-denominated bonds, the dollar's share of global reserves declines. And that decline is already happening. According to the International Monetary Fund, the dollar's share of global foreign exchange reserves fell from 62% in 2020 to 56.3% in the second quarter of 2025, a 5.7 percentage point decline in 5 years. That is the fastest decline since the euro was introduced in 1999, and the decline is accelerating. In 2025 alone, the dollar's share fell 1.4 percentage points. At that rate, the dollar falls below 50% by 2028. Below 50% is the tipping point. That is when the dollar stops being the dominant reserve currency and becomes one reserve currency among several. And when that happens, when the dollar loses dominance, the consequences for the United States economy are catastrophic. Let me explain the consequences step by step, because most people do not understand what reserve currency status actually provides. Reserve currency status means that foreign central banks, foreign corporations, and foreign investors hold dollars and dollar-denominated assets as savings. They hold U.S. Treasury bonds. They hold dollar bank deposits. They hold dollar-denominated corporate bonds and equities. The total amount of dollars and dollar assets held by foreigners is approximately $33 trillion. 33 trillion. For context, that is larger than the entire U.S. gross domestic product, which is 29 trillion. Foreigners hold more dollar assets than the entire annual output of the U.S. economy. Why? Because the dollar is the global reserve currency. It is the safe asset. But if the dollar loses reserve status, if central banks start diversifying into renminbi and gold, they sell dollar assets and buy renminbi assets and gold. What happens when you sell $33 trillion worth of assets? Prices collapse. Treasury bond yields spike. The dollar crashes. Interest rates in the U.S. explode because the U.S. government can no longer borrow cheaply. Right now, the U.S. government pays an average interest rate of approximately 3.5% on its debt. With $36 trillion in debt, that is $1.26 trillion in annual interest payments. If reserve currency status is lost and foreigners sell treasuries, yields could spike to 7, 8, 10%. At 10% average interest rate, the annual interest payment on $36 trillion is $3.6 trillion. The entire federal budget is currently $6.8 trillion. Interest payments alone would consume 53% of the budget. That is unsustainable. The government would face a choice: default on the debt, cut spending by half, or print money to pay the interest. We know which choice they make. They print, and when they print $3.6 trillion per year just for interest, hyperinflation begins. Not 5% inflation, not 10%, 30, 40, 50% annual inflation. The value of the dollar collapses domestically and internationally. Savings evaporate. Purchasing power is destroyed. The middle class is annihilated. This is not hypothetical. This is the mathematical outcome when a country with $36 trillion in debt loses reserve currency status. And China's gold vault announcement is the mechanism that triggers that loss. Because once central banks have a viable alternative, once they can store gold in Shanghai, settle in renminbi, and avoid dollar exposure, they will do it. Not all at once. Gradually, but inexorably. And the timeline has already started. Let me show you the timeline month by month. January 2026. 3 central banks, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, begin preliminary discussions with China about moving gold to Shanghai. Discussions focus on logistics, insurance terms, and settlement agreements. Media coverage is limited. Markets largely ignore the announcement. February 2026. The first transfer occurs. Kazakhstan moves 40 million ounces of gold from London to Shanghai. The transfer is executed via armored transport, insured with full documentation. It takes 12 days. Upon arrival, SGS conducts an independent audit confirming bar counts and purity. Kazakhstan issues a press release stating the move is part of reserve diversification. Financial media begins paying attention. March 2026, Saudi Arabia announces it will transfer 120 million ounces of gold to Shanghai. This is the major headline. Saudi Arabia holds approximately 320 million ounces in total reserves. Moving 120 million, nearly 40%, to Shanghai is a geopolitical statement. The announcement is made during a state visit by the Chinese premier to Riyadh. The two countries also sign agreements expanding renminbi-denominated oil trade. Markets react. The dollar index falls 3% in one day. Treasury yields spike 40 basis points. Gold jumps from $4,200 to $4,580 per ounce. April 2026. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand announce gold transfers to Shanghai, totaling 80 million ounces combined. The ASEAN bloc is clearly coordinating. Within days, the Philippines and Vietnam make similar announcements. Total ASEAN gold moving to Shanghai, 140 million ounces. The dollar index falls another 5%. U.S. Treasury yields hit 6.2%, the highest since 2007. The Federal Reserve holds an emergency meeting. They issue a statement saying they are monitoring the situation and stand ready to provide liquidity if needed. Translation, they are panicking. May 2026, India announces a partial transfer. India holds over 47 million ounces officially. They announce they will move 20 million ounces to Shanghai as a test. If the test is successful, they will consider moving more. Russia, which is already partially isolated from Western financial systems, moves its entire remaining gold reserves held in non-Russian vaults to Shanghai, approximately 60 million ounces. The total gold now stored in Shanghai vaults for foreign central banks exceeds 460 million ounces. That is more than half the total gold stored in London. The tipping point is crossed. June 2026, Brazil, South Africa, and Egypt announced transfers. BRICS nations, minus China, which is the host, are consolidating reserves in Shanghai. The message is clear. The BRICS bloc is exiting the dollar system. The total gold in Shanghai vaults for foreigners exceeds 600 million ounces. Markets are in freefall. The S&P 500 is down 23% year to date. Treasury yields are at 7.8%. The dollar has lost 14% of its value against a basket of currencies. Inflation in the US hits 8.2% annualized. July 2026, Germany shocks the world. Germany, a core US ally and NATO member, announces it will conduct a pilot transfer of 50 million ounces to Shanghai. The stated reason is reserve diversification and risk management. The real reason is that Germany sees the writing on the wall. If the dollar is losing reserve status, Germany needs to position itself in the emerging renminbi system. France follows within a week, 50 million ounces to Shanghai. The European Union is fracturing. Some members follow Germany and France. Others, particularly Poland and the Baltic states, refuse. But the damage is done. Total foreign gold in Shanghai vaults exceeds 800 million ounces. August 2026. The Federal Reserve announces emergency measures. Interest rates are cut by 150 basis points in a single meeting. Quantitative easing is restarted. The Fed will buy $1 trillion in treasuries over 6 months to prevent yield spike. But the measures backfire. The rate cut and QE are seen as desperation. The dollar falls another 8%. Inflation accelerates to 12% annualized. Gold hits $6,200 per ounce. By late August 2026, the dollar's share of global reserves has fallen to 48%. Below 50, the tipping point. The dollar is no longer the dominant reserve currency. It is one reserve currency among several, with the renminbi at 18%, the euro at 22%, and gold itself increasingly held as a reserve asset at 12%. The era of dollar hegemony is over, and it took 8 months from China's announcement to the collapse. Now, let me tell you what this means for you personally, because the collapse of dollar hegemony is not an abstract geopolitical event. It is a direct, immediate, catastrophic impact on your finances. If you hold dollar-denominated assets, stocks, bonds, real estate priced in dollars, the value collapses. Not because the underlying assets are worthless, but because the currency they are priced in is losing purchasing power. If inflation runs at 12% and your stock portfolio gains 8%, you lost 4% in real terms. If inflation runs at 20% and your bond pays 5%, you lost 15%. If inflation runs at 30% and your savings account pays 1%, you lost 29%. The only assets that hold value during currency collapse are hard assets: gold, silver, commodities. Real estate, but only a few own it without debt. If you have a mortgage, inflation helps you because you pay back the debt with devalued dollars. But if you are a saver, if you are holding cash or bonds or dollar-denominated assets, you're wiped out. Let me give you the math. If you have $100,000 in savings today and inflation runs at an average of 20% annually for 3 years, which is the conservative estimate if the dollar loses reserve status, your $100,000 becomes worth $57,600 in purchasing power. You lose 42.4% of your wealth, not from market crash, from currency debasement. If you have $1 million in a retirement account invested in U.S. stocks and bonds, and those assets nominally hold value, but the dollar loses 40% of purchasing power, your 1 million becomes 600,000 in real terms. If you have 10 million, it becomes 6 million. The wealth destruction is proportional. It hits everyone, but it hits savers hardest. People who did everything right, who saved money, who invested conservatively, who trusted the system, get destroyed. Meanwhile, people who own hard assets, who own gold, who own silver, who own commodities, see their wealth explode. Not because they are smarter, because they position themselves in assets that hold value when currencies collapse. This is the greatest wealth transfer in human history, and it starts with China's gold vault announcement on January 15th, 2026. Now let me tell you what to do, because you have a choice. You can act now, or you can wait and watch your wealth evaporate. If you hold significant dollar-denominated financial assets, diversify immediately. Allocate a minimum of 20% of your portfolio to physical gold and silver, not ETFs, not mining stocks, physical metal that you hold or that is stored in allocated accounts with your name on specific bars. If you can allocate 30 or 40% to hard assets, even better. If you have debt, particularly fixed-rate debt like a mortgage, do not pay it off early. Inflation is about to make that debt worthless in real terms. You borrowed dollars when they were strong. You will pay back dollars when they are weak. That is a transfer of wealth from the creditor to you. Use the money you would have spent paying down debt to buy hard assets. If you have cash savings beyond an emergency fund, convert it. Do not hold large cash balances. 6 months of expenses in cash is reasonable for emergencies. Everything beyond that should be in hard assets or inflation-protected securities. If you own a business, start accepting payments in multiple currencies. Offer discounts for payments in euros, renminbi, or even Bitcoin. Diversify your revenue streams away from dollar dependence. If you are planning major purchases, cars, appliances, home renovations, do them now before inflation drives prices higher. If you wait 6 months, the same car could cost 20% more. And if you are young, if you are early in your career, focus on skills that will remain valuable regardless of currency. Tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, carpenters will always have work. Computer programmers, engineers, medical professionals, always in demand. Build skills that cannot be devalued by currency collapse, because the currency will collapse. China's gold vault system guarantees it. The timeline is 8 to 14 months from January 15th. By late 2026 or early 2027, the dollar will have lost reserve currency status. And when it does, when foreign central banks and investors dump $33 trillion in assets, the collapse will be swift and brutal. This is not a recession. This is not a correction. This is the end of an 80-year system. The system that began in July 1944 at Bretton Woods, when the dollar became the global reserve currency backed by gold. The system that continued after August 1971, when Nixon ended gold convertibility and the dollar became a pure fiat currency backed only by trust. That system is ending now. Saturday, January 17th, 2026. 2 days after China declared financial war. The war will not be fought with missiles. It will be fought with gold bars moving from London and New York to Shanghai. And the United States has already lost, because the US cannot offer what China is offering. The US cannot guarantee allocated storage without rehypothecation. The US has been leasing and lending gold for decades. The US cannot guarantee against sovereign seizure. The US literally just froze 300 billion in Russian reserves. The US cannot offer insurance backed by neutral international entities. The US is not neutral. The US is a combatant. China, by contrast, has built a system that is technically superior, legally sound, and politically advantageous for any country that wants to exit dollar dependence. And once the first major transfers occur, once Saudi Arabia moves 120 million ounces, once Germany moves 50 million, the cascade begins. Other countries see the train leaving and they rush to get on board. The fear of missing out on the new system, combined with the fear of being left holding worthless dollars, drives a stampede. And stampedes are impossible to stop. This is World War III of finance. It started Thursday. And by this time, next year, the world will look completely different. The dollar will no longer be king. Gold will be king. And the countries holding gold, the countries storing gold in Shanghai, the countries settling trade in renminbi backed by gold, will be the new financial powers. China planned this for over a decade. They accumulated gold quietly. They built the infrastructure secretly. They launched at the perfect moment. And they executed flawlessly. The United States had 80 years of dollar hegemony. That era is over. The new era, the era of multipolar currency systems, the era of gold-backed trade settlement, the era of de-dollarization starts now. And if you're not positioned for it, if you're still holding dollar assets and trusting the system, you are about to lose everything. World War III is not coming. World War III is here, and the battlefield is your bank account.
Okay, you did good. You watched what I wanted to share with you. I know maybe for some people it could have been very boring, and you're like, oh, he's talking about finances. Now, the picture that I wanted you to view in your mind is America is like finished. This is why I said that video, that financial video that you just watched, laid out clearly the condition of our apex enemies. Egypt upon us, with the yoke upon our necks. And this is why I was excited to listen to that. This video wasn't, hey, buy gold and silver and that. I wanted you to hear. Because when I watched it, like I see Joel, the book of Joel, Joel, the book of Joel. World War III, everybody thinks it's, no, it's follow the money. And the Most High said he's going to rescue us. The only way you're going to get rescued is they fall and we rise. And what I presented to you is showing their fall. And he gave you a timeline. That was one of the key parts. I didn't say the timeline to the great and terrible, awesome day. Nobody knows the timelines for that. But we are at the door. We're in the precipice. We're coming to the crescendo of well, they say Old Testament, Tanakh prophecy. He's going to take from them. He's going to take everything from them like he took from Egypt. You just witnessed it. Well, you're going to witness it as you heard him say, this week, this year, beginning of next year, maybe. The finances is gone. I'm going to give you an example. You could be like prominent in your city or town and your job thing, but guess what? When you lose all finances, like stars, they got the Rolls Royces, ghosts, phantoms, they got the mansions, they got this and that. Then when they don't get no more jobs, no more movies, no more singing contracts, no more touring, then you see them, they're poor on the street, homeless. Their status was ripped. And the Most High, Most High is in the process of ripping them limb from limb for you, for the nation of Israel. because he's not like us. He's not man to lie. He says in Zephaniah chapter 3, he's going to restore us back. And the only way that we're going to get restored back is if that wall, that demon wall that's been blocking us, covering us, pressing us down demonically on demon time, is taken out of the way. And I gave you a version of our apex biblical enemy in the process, not far, 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 like these, young people. Oh, that's long time ago, from long time from now. No, America, and guess what? Yes, it's going to affect me. It's going to affect you. I'm retired. But guess what? What we need to do? What a new likes to do. Soldier of the Most High, Gloria likes to do. Another princess Hebrew soldier, and all the soldiers that are on here. JD Israel, King, one of the kings under King David. Jason Edwards, one of the kings under King David. Who else is on here? Damon Fayah. And that's about it, I think. Yeah, that's about it. Listen, this is a small. Listen, most of the people ain't getting the memo. We're in the last days. I don't know what section of it, but we're definitely in the last days. In order for Daniel 7:27 to come about, the kingdoms and the dominions and the greatness of the kingdoms under the whole heaven will be given to the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions will serve and obey. In Isaiah chapter 60, in the kingdoms, dominions that don't want to serve, they're going to be utterly wasted. Then somebody going to say, well, that means China and the EU, and they're just holding the key for you and for me until the Most High says it's totally done. That's all that's going on. You are the next kingdom ruler of the earth forever under King David. Not China. That China is just the process for us to get there, to get finished with the book of Joel, so that we can see Obadiah 1:15. The day of the Most High is near to all the heathens. For what you have done, it will be done unto you. Your reward shall be returned on your own head. They stole everything. Everything is now going to be taken from them, stolen from them. China's tricking. Remember, there's no loyalty between thieves. The caveman Americans are thieves. The Down syndrome, they used to call them Charlie in the World War Ones and two. They're thieves too. They're all thieves. The Psalm 83. So hopefully you can rejoice. Hopefully this was edifying. Hopefully maybe you'll start maybe looking at some stuff, and not being tricked. Oh, everything is cool. Everything is not cool. Like I follow finance, not that I got finance because I don't. I'm in the same boat as most of you. I live, they say paycheck to paycheck. I live my little pension check, little pension. That's it. I got a little silver here or there, but nothing big, nothing big at all. I wish I did. I wish I could have saved it, whatever. Like I know about that because in my youth I did save gold coins, but I had to sell them in my divorce from the heathen woman. I had to pay for her lawyer and my lawyer. It cost me a lot of money. So I took my coins. And if I would have had them coins right now, I would have had a lot of money. but I did. You have to do what you got to do. So I don't have any. I'm in the same boat. So anyway, listen. Hopefully this was edifying. It's something different. I know finances and history lessons are boring, but this financial lesson to me wasn't. I want to share with you. This is a new Yeshua Israel, Hebrew on the island to look up. Remember, in order for Israel to truly rise and that new kingdom to come, our enemies have to fall. And you're seeing, you already heard the process, and you're going to see this year, maybe part of next year, Who knows? Sooner or later, or even who knows? But it's there. It's there. It's coming. It's coming. Can you feel it? I can feel it. And let me just see if anybody said anything, and I'm gonna call it quits. When there is no honor, they will destroy each other. And the Mount for Yah. When there is no honor, they will destroy each other. That's why I am stocking up my popcorn. Okay, blessing to you. Fair use. Correction, I am truly happy. Yes, so don't be, hopefully you weren't bored by this financial video that I showed at Hebron Island too. You should be inspired to go, yes, yes, cleanup time. Oh, truth, God blessing. Davis, New Ben Israel. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. King Jason. Yep, good to have you back, brother. Jason. These heathens think they're going to rule forever. And you heard remember, follow the money. To not rule. The Most High ain't having that. And you're going to see it this year. And that's one day, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years closer to us. All right, Jeremiah 25, 15, 16. I want to respect the Hebrew king. Let me put these. I don't have glasses. I ordered some other reading bifocal glasses. Hopefully they work because they've only got no eye doctors here. You got offices, but they're really not eye doctors. you know, they just maybe, and they got an office. I don't know. That's just hearsay. I don't know because I don't know. I don't know. All right, let me put these. Let me put these things on to help me. Don't get blurred by my crazy reading glasses with lights, because my real reading glasses, they're lost. I've been trying to find them. I can't find them, and I ain't going back to America. And I try to order a new pair like of glasses online. They sent me ones that don't work. So these other little reading glasses, these are just one power. Excuse me. I'm ordering 1.25 power bifocal reading glasses. So they may help me more where I don't even have to. I don't want to spend, I don't have money for that. I got to do my immigration because I don't want to get the kicked out of here. So, and lawyers, they charge Americans a lot. A lot of people don't like Americans. So anyway, let me see. JD Israel said Jeremiah 25. Let's go to Jeremiah 25. All right, Jeremiah 25, 15 and 16. Okay, hold on. For thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, to me, take from my hand this cup of wine of wrath, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink of it. Let them drink and wrench and act crazy because of the sword that I'm sending among them. Excellent scripture, as always. They acting crazy. They gonna act crazy, and they got the real crazy guy. He gonna real act crazy because he wants to be king. And there's only one king on the earth coming. That's King David. Not no JC bloody guy on the cross. None of that crap. The white version or the black Oreo cookie version. None of that. All right, let me see. Hold on. Hold on. I missed what's going on here. Hold on. 2 facts. Okay. Party time. Okay. I missed it. Okay. We're going to be the head once again for good. Correct. Anuha. Jason Edwards. I am happy we are living in our last days. The demonic earth is terrible. Correct. Anuha. The Most High is using China as a wicked vessel to help Israel rise once again for good. Correct. Cain wise, Kohelet, edifying lesson indeed. I am inspired. This video is for you to be inspired. Inspired. Party time, Israel, the Mon for Yah. The lesson puts a huge smile on my face. All praise to the Most High, the Anuha, the Most High is using evil against evil to destroy them. JD Israel, thank you for reading that. Yo, you know I always read not just your stuff, anybody who's a Torah Tanakh Israelite, because what you say, what you present is important to me. It ain't about me, it's about us. He wants us as kinsmen to act correct, brotherly love, help and assist one another. And you guys assist me. You assisted me with this with this video. And I like the phrase, the nations will be going, they will be acting crazy. That's what it says in it tonight. And yes, they will. This is a new Yeshua Israel, Hebron Island 2. Until next time. And I'll be doing hopefully a teaching video. Most I willing, one day this week or the weekend. Until next time, Tom Jax.